So the whole thing about white privilege, right? It kind of works like this. We know that is bullshit, but then the problem with that is the goalpost shifting, right? So what you end up with is this. Let's suppose you have a preacher who is preaching about, I don't know, let's say Odin, right? Odin. He finds a person who is easily, convinced of things, gullible. And so that person convinces him that preacher convinces him that Odin is actually real. Okay. And so what happens is replace Odin with white privilege and then let the madness flow. Because after that, that person can come back and say, well, Odin says you have to pay Odin's preachers money. And that person says, well, why? I don't understand it. Well, don't you believe in Odin? Don't you want to be a good follower? Replace good follower with a non-racist person.
Right.
And again, isn't just shifting. The goalpost is like in the Wizard of fucking Oz, and then the goddamn hurricane swirling around, just swirling around. Again,
that's really close. Like that's really close to how I view white privilege, because I'm a Christian myself, and so the way I see white privilege is really close to yours, except I see it as a sort of original sin, whereas the SJW say to white people, you're white, you have these inherent qualities about you, there are inherent things in society that are in your favor, and so therefore you have this white privilege. Even the babies have white privilege, where the white babies are taking over the black babies in adoption, Yeah. And in order to repent, you need to be an ally to the black people. You need to stand up for the black people. And some of those white people pick this up. This type of SJW original.
Oh yeah, sin. Like there was there was this school in New York that actually telling these little white people, like the little boys, that they actually are born privileged, I believe.
Bank Street.
Yeah, they believe in an actual inherent quality of white people.
I want a black person who believes this to explain to me in list form, point form, what my privileges are. I always hear white privilege,
right?
And then they start bringing up systems and this and that. And I'm like, but tell me what I get as a white person. You're telling me I have privilege, all right? So what am I gonna get? What's the constellation prize? What's the prize? What's the door?
Right, and this is what they're going to tell you.
Oh my God, there's someone I just saw. I have this video I'm going to do, by the way. Sorry for interrupting. There's this video I'm going to do where conservatives are having a meeting at like a university. I don't know if any of you heard of this. It's not that big right now, but it's a 45-minute video. And these Black Lives Matter people come in and sit down and start explaining to them for 45 minutes, interrupting the thing, why they have privilege, and like saying how they call them the N-word, and it's like no, like everyone's sitting there like, I did not call her the N-word. What the fuck is she talking like? And then they're like explaining how we're privileged, how white people are privileged, and it does not make sense. And they're like, what are you talking about? Where? And they're like, oh, and one of the girls says, white students don't have to pay for their student loans.
Oh, I know that video. Yeah, I know that video.
Like, what the dude, you know how much debt I had to pay and how much like struggle I went through after my school? It was horrible.
The only person who stood up for everyone else in that video was the white girl. She was the only one who stood up and said to them that what they were saying wasn't true. All the men, there were men there who did not say a word. Yeah, I hate that word, but cucks. They sat there and did not say a word. It was just the white girl who had stood up for everyone else. And it got to the point where the big black girl had got into the white girl's face. Looked like she was going to punch her. Like I was going to lose my crap if she put her hands on her. But it was bad.
It's unbelievable that I have to be called a racist for what I talk about. Like, in fact, if you search Andy Warski on Google, you know when it makes like the automatic search results? The third thing is Andy Warski racist.
Wow.
The third thing. But the whole point, what I'm trying to, preach on my channel is we are like, this will start a race war. You're making, like Black Lives Matter is making white people more racist. The people who aren't in our circles and logical and thinking, they're just like, fuck like all these black people attack like blowing up the cities and shit. It makes black people who understand what's happening go, you're embarrassing us. Stop it, guys. What the fuck are you doing?
I have a very unpopular opinion about the whole thing. Like most people, at least the people on what we would consider our side, don't particularly agree with my view on it because I do believe in white privilege. But it's one of those things where it's like, this thing is here and it has always exists, but it never really had a name. Some assholes decided to give this thing that everybody has a name and decide to label it, just like all these other useless and pointless labels. But let me basically,
what is white privilege? Like, don't just put a label on it.
Oh no. Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no context behind it. There are certain things in society that white people can do or have the privilege of doing that black people can't. There are things that black people can do that white people can't. There are things that Puerto Rican people can do that, it's
But here's the thing is you're just saying that now, but you're giving no actual
No.
answer.
Like, think about it. Like, for example,
okay, exactly.
9 times out of 10, like if we're going to be realistic about it, if a black person walks into an interview in some swanky neighborhood or whatever and walks into a room, there's a pretty high chance that these swanky and high class white people are going to look at this this black person like, maybe they're not hireable just off the strength that they're black. This happens.
But what's the statistical evidence for that?
No. It's not really about statistics or how frequently it happens. The bottom line is it's not impossible. And
it's not.
Hang on. How about this? How about me as a white dude?
Mm-hmm.
And I walk in and they have like this attitude where he looks too young. He doesn't look professional. I'm not gonna hire him. You know what I mean?
The point that I'm trying to make is when you flip the table around. Look, when you flip the table around, let's just say you as a white dude walked into like the hood and you walked into some store where they sell, tennis shoes and shit, and they all hip and they gangster in there and everybody dapping each other up, and you walk in there, they're gonna look at you like, what the fuck you doing here, white boy? Like, this ain't.
Exactly. But that's what I was gonna say is there's certain people more accepted in certain areas.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody has this privilege.
But it's not privilege. That's the thing is we're having this like this art like this privilege debate. Like, it's like we're it's society. It's the way things work. It's like fat people saying that skinny people have privilege.
Well, that's a little bit different because most fat people can control that. We're talking about uncontrolled factors. Like, you don't pick what color you know.
I think what he's trying to convey is that some people believe that white privilege is something that goes with all white people, that it's inherent to all white people,
right? And that's
all
wrong.
White people experience, and this is wrong, right?
Yeah, that's wrong.
And just like you mentioned, there are people who have privileges, but when we talk about things about subtle racism and outwards racism that you actually experience, you actually hear, you actually see, when it comes to subtlety, if someone doesn't explicitly state something that's racist or engages in behavior that's racist, we can't just say that it's racist, or we can't just say that there's this racism going on. But that's what SJWs are doing. They're doing this thing where if you do something that is uncomfortable to another person, it must be racism, even though racism hasn't been explicit. A racist statement hasn't been explicitly stated.
But also, like, I've heard a few of the people who talk about this shit will always say like, "Oh, you're privileged. You don't know how it is to feel racism. You don't know how it feels to be."
Yeah, but that's all bullshit.
But in my old area, in fact, I have a video you can search. It's the one I did. Pokemon Go is racist. The area I lived in was black people, right? And black people in that area, I swear to God, I heard like, "What the fuck you doing here, white boy?" Or like, look at this whitey. Like, when I'm walking by, and I understand racism, and it's a freaky feeling. It's like a, holy shit, they don't like me because I'm fucking white. What's gonna happen?
The sad part is they'll tell you that it's not racist because they're black.
Right.
Exactly. And I'm the racist because I'm just white.
We'll see.
I don't discriminate. Like, if you're an asshole, whether you're black or you're white or you're Asian or whatever, I will hate you. If you're nice to me, I'll be cool with you, no matter what you are. It's the person. You know what I mean? And the inherent thought that or the thought that I'm inherently racist now makes them racist towards me. It's like a preemptive racist comment. Right. Oh, look at this white guy, he's racist, so I'm going to call him a whitey or cracker when he walks by, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, the point that I was trying to make, though, with my statement was not the fact that they have some validation in saying what they're saying. For me, put it this way. We breathe oxygen every day. Yeah. It's normal. You walk outside, you breathe oxygen. If a person walks up to me and I didn't know that what I was breathing was oxygen, told me, you know you're breathing oxygen right now and that's what's keeping you alive, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And then I'll move on with my life. That's it. It's a thing that I have now acknowledged. It's there, but it's like, whatever. That's how the world goes. So when I look at this thing, when people bring up privilege to me, they're like, some people have advantages and some people don't. I'm like, okay, so that's just life.
You know?
That's not something that you have to.
It's like male privilege or female privilege. Like, you know, saying, oh, men have this, men have that. And
and it's not. It's not
with women have this and women have that.
Right. The fact is everyone has privilege. Black people have the privilege to sometimes, even by law, you know, it means that Black people and white people aren't legislatively equal right now.
There's also class privilege too.
Class privilege.
Class privilege too.
Right, class privilege.
That's the one that actually matters.
Right.
Yeah, and the bottom line I was trying to make is it exists. It's a thing, but it doesn't matter.
Well, like, yeah, exactly. I mean, when we're talking about like real racism, that is something I'm sure we could all agree that we're against. Where it's like you walk into someone and you just straight up drop the N-bomb. You know, just fucking straight call them out, or you know, go ugh, fucking Asians.
Well, anyway, let's continue on topic because I think that went on long enough.
Racism.